Hello, my name is Ilona and today is Monday, November 11th, 2024. Here in the Netherlands we have Sint Maarten, which is something that you could compare to Halloween. We have children going around with lanterns with lights. They actually make something and it has to do with Saint Maarten. Not sure if that is a known saint. But he was actually giving to the poor, and then the children come and sing a song for you, and then you give them candy. It is similar, but it is different in a way. And then again, it's now 11:11, which is a very, a big portal energetically. So if you're noticing all kinds of things happening today, then it probably has to do with the energies of today. So anyway, I've got 4 card readings here. The last one had to do with the Netherlands, but I'll talk about that as well, just for a general, maybe some people are interested in what's going on in the Netherlands as well. The first is about, I want to take a look what's going to happen with the USA and Israel now, because, well, Mr. T is already making phone calls with all kinds of people, and there is a lot of things happening. He's already done more in 48 hours than Mr. B did in the entirety of his presidency and what he's doing now as a president. We don't even know what he's doing. There's some voices, people saying that he should really, move away and let Kamala just for a little bit become president. Not sure if that's such a great idea, because it's pretty known what the American people think of her. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. But of course, Mr. T is really firm, doing all kinds of things. All kinds of things are already happening. So the first thing I wanted to take a look was at Israel. What is going on right now? We've got the Tower. Things are falling apart. We've got the Sun card. Underneath the Sun card, we've got the 4 of Wands. And in the past, we have the Page of Pentacles. And for the near future, we have the Knight of Wands and the High Priestess. So for me, this feels like the white hats are taking over more and more in Israel. That doesn't mean that things are just going to move very smoothly now. We do know things are happening there, but nothing is as it seems with the High Priestess. A lot of things are happening in the background, and we are still in the chess game. Just because Mr. T now actually came forward, because really it was too big to do anything about it, because there was so much voting from the people, they couldn't manipulate it against it. And even though they've tried in some cases, most of the time people picked it up immediately. And there was so much focus on it now that I do think a lot of this is going to come out. Also, what happened to the 20 million votes that Mr. B got, but Kamala didn't. And you know what happened? Why are there less votes now than there were in 2020? It's a bit strange, and I do think those things are going to come out. But what I see now with Israel is things are falling apart. Obviously, the narrative is falling apart. I do think we're going to hear more about the children. I've mentioned this before, and other people as well, that a lot of people that have done things with children all kind of moved to Israel. It's very strange to see. Probably has something to do with what's going on there. That doesn't mean that everybody there has any connection to that. We need to separate the dark energies from the people living there, just living their lives. And I do see that more and more people are uniting there. They don't want what's going on. They don't want the direction it is taking. The things that are happening in the Gaza area. A lot of people that live there don't want anything to do with that. And we need to separate the dark energies from the people who are living there. They are not one and the same. We need to keep that in mind. So when I'm talking about things falling apart, I'm talking about the dark energies that are still trying to create wars, that are still trying to push their agenda through, and it's falling apart. And like I've mentioned, the white hats are gaining more and more control. But it doesn't mean that this is going to be smooth sailing. I do think things will happen because it has to do with showing people what's really going on. I also want to mention that we've seen the reaction from some people, at least I've seen on Telegram, some TikToks going around from people completely going out of their minds with that Mr. T now is going to be the next president. And If you can see the shock from this, just imagine if all those things about the children are coming out. A lot of people won't be able to handle it now. That doesn't mean that it's not going to come out, but it's going to come out in phases. That's at least how I feel things. And I've mentioned this before, but just see the other shock, how people are responding to this. Just imagine all the other things that still need to come out. People are already, you know, seeds are being sown with the Diddy case and, of course, Epstein and things like that. But it's going to get a lot more hectic, because then you see that there is a large part in humanity that really has a tough time dealing with these things. We'll have to wait and see. Some people will never want to see this and will keep, you know, pushing this away and pushing the reality away from things. But in Israel, I think that there's still things going to happen, that it will seem, you know, not going to the right direction, so to speak. Just because Mr. T is now back doesn't mean that everything is going to be smooth sailing from this on. We still need to see things and show people things, and they need to experience certain things before they finally will see, or at least they'll give the opportunity to wake up and see things. It will be up to them. So that's, let's see. This card is here and this one is here as well. So, and the second card reading is about Ukraine. Because we do know lots of things are happening there as well. And this is very interesting. This is a different energy than Israel. So we have the Knight of Wands again with the Knight of Cups. And we have the Page of Wands underneath the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups is the central card here. And we have a lot of white influences, white head influences. We've got the Ace of Cups in the past. And we have again the High Priestess and the Nine of Cups. So to me this feels things are already happening, and ultimately it will be for the best for that area. I do think certain parts will be given to Russia, and you know, it will be split up in a way, but it's going to be, they're already starting to you know, try to get this off the ground. It's already started with all these white hat influences. Something will be given. It's like a peace offering. I do think, I'm not sure with time, but I do think in a couple of months, or maybe even less than that, we just don't know how smooth that will go. But that will go a lot smoother than Israel. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. That this will come to an end. That this will be ended. And in the public, they will see that certain parts will be given, of course, to Russia. And they're probably going to see as well that Russia is really not going to aim for anything else. They just want the parts that were, you know, supposed to be part of Russia and not part of the Ukraine to begin with. So I see here more of a smoother transition than with Israel. And the other thing I also wanted to look at is NATO, the energy of NATO. We already see them panicking and trying to adjust things with America, obviously, because, well, Mr. T is something different. He already made a stand in 2016 and, of course, the 4 years that followed after that. And, well, we see the first card for NATO, and what's going to happen there is the Nine of Swords. So they're stressed out. We see, and that's interesting, the Three of Cups. So there will be some kind of celebration, and the Ace of Wands. To me, this feels like most likely they will try to smooth it out with America, obviously, but I also think something new is going to start with the Ace of Wands. It will be completely changed. We have the Three of Pentacles in the past, and again we have that white hat influences, the King of Wands and the Fool. And the Fool is about something completely different, a completely different journey. So to me it feels like, I think the NATO will be changed. All these influences will be dealt with. That's why there's so much stress. They know what's coming, and it will seem like a celebration. So they might still keep some puppets around, but ultimately I think the NATO will be changed into something completely different. Maybe they'll keep the same name, but it will be completely different energy for what they stand for now, with all these dark energies still there, although I don't think they have that much control anymore. I think the white hats have taken over quite some bit, but we need to see things, like I've mentioned before, for people start to understand what's truly really going on. Let's see. This card needs to go on this one. Then we have the last card reading. I've got so many cards here. I'm getting completely confused by all these. That's what you get when you've got so many card readings. And that's the last one. It has to do with the Netherlands. And this has to do with the hole in the dikes, so to speak. I've looked at this like 11 months ago. They already started, talking and coming out there. There's so many things happening to our, dikes. Holes are being, they're digging holes in there. And of course we are, we need those protections because most of the part of the Netherlands is under the sea level. So when the water comes in, we've got an issue. We've got a big issue. And a lot of people are, of course, scared of that, especially what's happening in France, in Italy, and in Spain. With all the, especially in Spain, a lot of dams have been removed, apparently. And what I got from the flooding there in that area, in France, in Spain, and in Italy, that it has to do with Mother Nature. That's what I've got from the cards. That doesn't mean that, it feels the same for you. A lot of people are seeing this as dark energies, and that's not what it feels like to me, but of course see what resonates to you. Also with the Netherlands, I understand that a lot of people are frightened and scared that, I forgot a card here, are of course frightened and scared that this is going to lead to a lot of flooding here as well, because of course the water is being used for the tunnels underneath, and we know in the Netherlands we have a lot of tunnels underneath the Netherlands. Also, I wanted to point out that we've already had a lot of water. We already had a lot of flooding the past few years, especially I think about a year ago. We had like water, like rain for 10 months. It was just raining and raining, and even here where I live there was some problems with flooding. I didn't have any issue, but some people further along the line did have some issue with water flooding their streets. So we already had some issues. So I do think a lot of the tunnels underneath the Netherlands have been flooded already. Just wanted to mention that. But the cards I've got for the what's going on here now. And of course, like I said, follow your own intuition in this. If you feel, especially if you do live in the Netherlands, you feel like, well, it doesn't feel right to me anymore. I need to move. I need to do things. Follow that intuition in that way. I don't feel like a lot of things are going to happen in that way. That like the almost half of the Netherlands will be flooded. I don't see that happening. But then again, follow your own intuition. We've got the Fool, we've got the Knight of Pentacles, and we've got the Chariot. So this, and in the past we have, of course, the old pain, the Nine of Wands. This has connected to the old pain because really the Netherlands has been fighting with the water for a very long time. Like I mentioned, large parts of the Netherlands are under sea level. So I see with the Fool a complete new beginning. Plans are being rolled out and we are gaining control. The Chariot is also about gaining control of things. I know that a lot of people also see this as moving away. Well, if that is how you interpret that, of course, please follow your own intuition in this. But I see this as gaining control and moving away from this entire, that they have that power to flood us, to do things with us. Of course, in the Second World War, a large part of the Netherlands was flooded again by the Germans. They made a hole in the dike. It's actually where I grew up. A large part of where I was born was actually on the water, and my grandparents had to flood that area. So this is something that is very, painful for a lot of people in the Netherlands and from family lines. So flooding can be very frightening and frightful. We, of course, in January 1953, if I'm not mistaken, we had that disaster happening as well. Flooding in the Netherlands, so there is a lot connected to water and pain. So I see here we're moving away from that. Plans are being rolled out, and we need to have faith as well. Trust that everything will be all right. It's also important to understand where you focus your energy on, that you're actually giving it energy. Of course, I fully understand if people are becoming frightened, scared, focusing on that, focusing on the flooding. you are focusing in a way your energy that also creates it. So in a way you're helping it along as well. People really need to understand that. And again, look at old pains. Maybe it's from past lifetimes, maybe from the family line. Like I've mentioned, a lot of people here in the Netherlands have had disaster with water in their family line. So it's very important to fully feel through that. And, healing, it's also about healing. But then again, also always follow your own intuition. The last two cards for the Netherlands is the Emperor and the Four of Wands. So to me, this feels like more connecting, getting together. I see the Emperor, so to me this feels like, again, it's like the military will help if something could happen. I think they are helping it along. I don't think the Netherlands will be completely flooded again, or half of the Netherlands flooded again. Like I said, there will be some water issues and flooding happening, but not at this large, humongous scale. That doesn't feel like it feels to me. That's not how it feels to me. So this is what let's leave it at this. Hope to see you in another video. Bye.